Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to NBA Knowledge. Today we're going to be looking at Klay Thompson and surprise trade targets for NBA teams this summer. Let's get straight to the video. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to be targeting Klay Thompson. If the Warriors traded Klay Thompson just when the five-time All-Star is finally ready to retake the floor following 2 years ruined by injuries, the damage to the fan sentiment might be irreparable. He's beloved like few dubs in history, and his healthy return is a critical piece of Golden State's hopes of getting back into contention. But that's none of the Philadelphia 76ers' problems. If superstars in the Damian Lillard tier aren't available, and if the Sixers are completely certain that Ben Simmons can't be on the roster in the start of the 2021 to 2022 season, Thompson, or at least the version of him we all remember, should be the best return they can get. His spot-up shooting, off-the-ball movement, and quietly serviceable pick-and-roll ball handling would fit cleanly into Philadelphia's offense, providing more space for Joel Embiid to pulverize opponents in the paint. The risk of Thompson never getting close to his past peak is real, but you've got to balance that against the fun of Philly getting to start a Curry-Thompson backcourt. Those tend to work pretty well. Up next, we got the New Orleans Pelicans targeting CJ McCollum. The hardest part of finding a trade target for the Pelicans is deciding which of their many needs to address. Well, actually, that's the second hardest part. The most difficult is fulfilling the surprising requirement. Because the Pelicans have so much draft equity and so many movable contracts, they've been linked, hypothetically, to almost every name you could think of. From Bradley Beal to Miles Turner, the Pelicans tend to find their way into made-up trade chatter. Let's go with CJ McCollum, whose ability to space the floor as a catch-and-shoot threat would ease the sting of Lonzo Ball's potential departure, who would give New Orleans a dangerous second option alongside Zion Williamson. Brandon Ingram would probably have to go back to the Blazers for salary matching purposes, but if Portland wants to tear their whole thing down, the Pelicans could package Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams' unwanted contracts with a treasure trove of draft picks. New Orleans basically controls the Lakers and Bucks' first-round picks for the better part of this decade, enabling it to offer an overwhelming number of future firsts. Adding McCollum to a Pelicans lineup already short on defensive punch is risky, but another high-scoring big name never hurts. Especially when you're trying to assure your generationally talented number one pick you're serious about giving him support. Up next, we got the Golden State Warriors targeting Gordon Hayward. You have to think big with any Golden State Warriors trade. Maximizing Stephen Curry's prime by getting back to series contention isn't something they can accomplish with cute little value adds on the margins. The problem is, dubs are such a hot topic that we've already seen a million permutations of what they could acquire using some combination of Andrew Wiggins' giant salary. James Wiseman and their 2 lottery picks in this year's draft, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Bradley Beal, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, and almost any notable name you can imagine has already been tossed down in one speculative exercise or another. Assuming Wiggins could be among the principals heading to Charlotte for Gordon Hayward, the Warriors would wind up shorter on athleticism and wing defense than they might prefer. But Hayward is an ace playmaker, exactly the kind of intuitive ball mover and anticipator Golden State has sorely lacked to support Curry and Draymond Green. Everyone pegs Kelly Oubre Jr.'s shooting woes as the most disappointing aspect of his tenure with the Dubs, but his lack of feel and vision was just as damaging to the offense. Hayward is a better shooter than Wiggins and would give the Warriors another savvy shot creator, unleashing offensive flow rather than damming it up like so many of the roster's support pieces did last season. Next, we got the Brooklyn Nets targeting Derek Favors. DeAndre Jordan didn't see the floor at all during the Brooklyn Nets playoff run. The general trend of postseason downsizing was a factor, but Jordan's lack of mobility made him particularly ill-suited for Brooklyn's most meaningful games. The Nets figured to continue playing small in those situations going forward, especially if Blake Griffin and Bruce Brown re-sign in free agency. But Brooklyn could still use an upgrade when circumstances call for old-school size. The Utah Jazz might be willing to part with backup Derek Favors because why roster 2 conventional centers these days? Who could help shore up the defense and control the boards whenever the Nets want to put an actual big on the floor. Though not exactly balletic in space, Favors is a bit lighter on his feet than Jordan, and is 3 years younger and was the superior per-minute rebounder and shot blocker last season. Plus, there's something appealing about Favors coming full circle, returning to the team that originally drafted him as a 19-year-old over a decade ago. And finally, we got the Utah Jazz targeting Robert Covington. Rudy Gobert took a lot of heat after struggling to defend in space against the Los Angeles Clippers' 5-out small ball lineups in the Western semifinals. But it would have made his job as a help defender a whole lot easier if the Utah Jazz perimeter defenders could have stayed in front of their assignments or disrupted passing lanes once in a while. The Clippers' driving kick spin cycle broke Utah's base schemes. Donovan Mitchell was hobbled, but Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles, and Jordan Clarkson don't have the same excuse. They're just not high-quality defensive disruptors. Utah could target a shutdown isolation stopper, but those are hard to find and might not be the ideal solution anyway. Better to hone in on someone who can fly around, switch, and survive on the downsized, sped up havoc opponents try to visit the Jazz. That describes Robert Covington almost perfectly. Though he's overrated as a one-on-one defensive weapon, Covington has posted elite block rates in his career, and those indicate his unique skills as a help defender. Few wings recover in space better than he does. Throw in his 3.6 deflections per game last year, good for second in the league, and you can see how he'd thrive exactly in the kinds of scattered situations that undid Gobert and the Jazz in the playoffs. Alright guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know which of these surprise trade targets made you the most surprised. I'll see you guys next time and have a great day. Peace.